Beautiful shades of pretty from all around the world. Here I am with day 2 of our 5-day challenge, Launch Your Brand Online. And today it's all about what has been stopping you. For those of you who are joining today for the first time, I highly recommend that you go through day 1, watch that live, and download the workbook. But let me do a quick recap. This is all about helping others. And now is the time we realize that offline business, if you are running it live amongst people. Deborah, hello honey, you are just in time. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me clearly and if you can see me clearly. Is everything okay? Hello. Deborah is from Germany. She's a brilliant writer, by the way. For those of you who don't know, she has a beautiful book coming up. So follow her. Anyways, so let me do a quick recap from day 1. Day 1 for Launch Your Brand Online, we started by learning ourselves. And how do we learn ourselves? First, we had to answer some questions about ourselves. Number 1, what is our current situation? And by we, I mean you. Let me tell you one thing, for those of you who could not have a printout of that workbook, you can have that workbook with you. You can download the workbook and you can write the answers on a paper with a pen. And we also discussed why it is very important to write down every one of your idea, every one of your plans, every one of your answers on a paper with a pen, because it involves your senses. Once you write down something on a paper with a pen, it involves 5 of your senses, and that way your brain is totally focused. And once you do that and read back after 24 hours, because 24 hours is a magic time, and your brain makes all the processed decision, or your brain processes all the decision, calculates all the possibilities and all the risks, and then gives you an informed decision. And that decision is oftentimes the best decision. Okay, so what we had on our day 1, the questions we had was, number 1, what is your current situation? And that can be your profession, but what is your identity currently? You can have as many aspects of your life in that answer. Let's say I am professionally a writer, I am professionally a teacher, I'm a marketing professional, I work at a bank. Then dig a bit deeper. I am a grumpy person, I'm an angry person, I'm an introvert person, or I'm an extrovert person, I'm a friendly person, I'm an angry person. And everything about you, you just write it down in that what section. That is, currently I don't like people, or currently I'm having a hard time coping with people, or all the time I feel like I don't like people, or I love being with people all the time. Currently I am missing people. Currently I am missing human communication. Karma, a wonderful woman. Karma, thank you for joining, sweetheart. Okay, so everything about you, like I like music, I like reading, but I don't like talking to people, or I talk to people, I learn a lot, but I just find reading very boring. I am a movie freak, I watch TV series, I am binging on Netflix. Everything about you, write down in that what section from the workbook of day 1. Then you answer, why is this your current phase? And we discussed it. Thank you, Karma. As we discussed, why is this your current situation? And it can be about your profession, like I always wanted to be a writer and here I am, or I wanted to have a 9-to-5 job so I have enough time to spend with my family, and that is why I am in this 9-to-5 job. Or I always wanted to do something very big, and this job gives me financial security, so here I am stuck in this 9-to-5 job. Or you can be a marketing professional who enjoys their job very much. And of course, you can write it that I love my job and that is why I am here. Anything about you, your profession, your character that you answered in the what section, you need to write down, why is this your current situation? And for some of you, you may find, let's say for introvert people, Abby, that's my buddy. She's a business coach. And this is very much related to my coach. For those of you who want to learn business, contact Abby Young and follow her. She is my buddy, and she's a brilliant, wonderful coach. Okay, so I was talking about why is this your current situation. Some of you may be so settled in your situation that you may think that I was born this way. Because guess what? Most of the introverts, if you ask them, they will say, I was born this way. Never, ever, ever are people born introvert. If you ask an extrovert person who is very friendly, who loves to party, who loves to hang out with your friends, who loves to go out and have, adventures, if you ask them, why are you like this? They will never tell you that I was born this way, or hardly ever will this be the answer. Because children are born friendly. Children, when a person is born, they are curious. You need to be with children to learn how to perceive life. They can make up a story around absolutely anything. If you tell a children to communicate with a tree, if you tell a child to communicate with a tree, they will. And they will make a story. They will hear the tree talking back to them. Why? Because they have amazing imagination. Because that's a pure brain in there. And once they start socializing, once they start picking up the systems, they develop a personality and they convince themselves that this is that personality. If you ask an extrovert, if you ask a very successful person, they will hardly ever tell you that I was born this way. But most of the introverts, they have this perception that I was born this way. No, about society, something about your surrounding made you behave like that, made you to have certain conclusions about people, certain conclusions about society, and you convinced yourself that you were born this way. So you need to dig deep and you need to learn that why are you like this? And the third question is, how did you get here? And that is a very technical question. And yesterday I strongly suggested that you take time to answering these questions. Because how did you get here? It sometimes can be very loving and enjoyable answer. Like I didn't know about it, but once I took an English class, I fell in love with English literature and I started reading. And now I want to write a book. That is an excellent, I'm proud of you and I'm happy for you. For most of the people, the case will be, I didn't want to, but I had to support my family. That's why here I am, supporting my family with a 9-to-5 job. Or I didn't make the decision for myself. My father or my husband or my family made the decision for myself. And that's why I didn't have enough liberty. So I am stuck here studying this or doing this, whereas this was not my intention. So you need to write down every part of your journey throughout your life in that how section. So in the first 3 questions, you pretty much sum up your life. And the last question was the introduction to today. That is, where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? For some of you, for some of very fortunate people, the answer will be, I want to enjoy life as much as I can in the next 5 years because I love life. And I'm proud of you. This is the best possible scenario anyone can have at any moment of their life. For some of you, that can be in the next 5 years, I hope that I can provide the best for my children and I have to continue this job. I hope I get a promotion. I hope I get 2 promotions. And I hope I can collaborate with this and that, with that person. And I want to buy a car. I want to buy a house. Or some of you, maybe I want to travel and I want to go free in the next 5 years because I have done enough and now it's time that I dream big. All of your intentions need to be in that where section. That where do you see yourself in next 5 years? And from that, we continue today. That is day 2. And as you can see in your workbook, day 2 has only one question. That is, what has been stopping you? And it is strictly based on where do you want to see yourself in 5 years and where are you right now? Why are you not moving forward, or what is holding you back? We all have limitations, and as you can see, you only write about your limitations in today's page. Today's workbook or page 2 is all about write down every limitation you believe you have. Because all of us have some limitations. Also, this is true that none of us have absolutely any limitations. Limitations are what we convince ourselves that because of this we couldn't do that. And sometimes it can be very realistic because some people have to work very hard. Some people have to struggle very hard to keep up with their life. And yes, the limitations are real. I'm not saying that all limitations are wrong and you are making up in your mind. But some limitations, 90% of the limitations are what you are building up in your head. And you are so comfortable believing that this is all you can do that at one time it becomes your personality. Yes, we do have limitations, but it can be overcome. For those of you who are first time watching this, and for those of you who are not familiar with what is coming up, or who are not familiar with the unstoppable opportunities worldwide and the world that we belong, then you need to be very, very generous about your limitations. Let me give you a hint. Your first limitation, let's say your 5-year plan is, I want to travel and I want to settle in Japan, because Japan is a beautiful country. This is the wealthiest country. And I love the culture. I love the manners. I love the people. And I want to settle in Japan. So that is what you want in 5 years. And then you have to think hard that what is your current situation and if you can reach that in 5 years. Yes, of course, if I have, let's say, $100 million, I can spend my life in Japan. Then why don't you have $100,000? Or how do you plan on having $100,000 in next 5 years? And that, I mentioned it yesterday and I'm mentioning today, that 2 years will take for this economic shock to overcome. Because currently, in this emergency situation, the economic collapse we are seeing, coronavirus is a temporary situation. It will, the technology we have, the skills we have in this world right now, the talents we have, this virus, this vaccine, and this situation, health issue, will be removed very soon. The problem is the economic shock, and this will last for 2 years. So, including these 2 years, you need to plan for next 3 years and what is exactly stopping you. And let me give you a hint. The first thing is, I don't have enough money to start a business. It's a valid point. The second thing can be, I have a family to take care of and I know they will never ever support me because they won't invest money in a business. That is a valid reason. Okay, let's say you have that money. Let's say for you, one day you just wake up and you see a stash of money under your pillow. Will you begin right at that point? Let me tell you, for some people, for 90% of the people, opportunity, if you give them, like if you hand over the world of opportunity to them, they will still find limitations. And guess what? 90% of people are like that because moving forward is scary. It's overwhelming because we don't know what's on the other end. We have never done this before. And none of us, although we watch a lot of tutorials online, we love to watch motivational videos and we love to take courses. But when it comes to doing, when we have to imply, it is scary as hell. Just to take one step out of the comfort zone, it is scary. So then, what kind of limitations you can have? For some, why would people listen to me? Why would people buy from me? Why would people trust me? That's a valid reason. Write that down. Then, if let's say I give you 100 people dedicated so they would listen to you and they would buy from you, then what? Will you start then? No. Again, 90% people will come up with a different limitation that they believe they have. Like, I don't look good enough, or I have never done this before. I cannot appear in front of the camera. I cannot talk like you do, like other people do. I cannot teach people. I hardly know it myself. Yes, that is scary. And these are valid points. Of course, you may believe that you don't look good. Do you think people who appear online all they want some kind of beauty pageant. Do you really think that? Or do you really think that all of them, they have never had a challenge in their life? Or do you think they have ready-made scripts in their head and they just appear in front of camera and words just appear in front of their eyes? It doesn't work like that. So how many limitations can you point down? If you can point a million limitations about yourself, I will give you an award. Trust me, at one point you can stop. And after 24 hours, if you look back, you will find that it seems like a crazy person talking about themselves, because it sounds crazy when somebody else says that. Let's say you wrote down, I don't look good, and this is a trick I am giving you. This is a very good trick for those of you who have self-complex and who have inferiority complex, who have doubts about themselves. No mentor will ever teach you the trick that I'm giving you. And if you are wondering, how did I find that out? Because I am one of you. I believed the world is against me, the universe is against me before I started. And guess what? This one trick that suddenly appeared, and I was going through over and over again to overcome my self-doubts and overcome my limitations. So one time I noticed this, and I'm giving you this trick. Once you write every limitation down, take 24 hours, because that is the magic hour. And when you look back, okay, if someone is joining, I cannot see the name, but if you can hear me clearly and if you can see me clearly, give me a thumbs up. So, shall we continue? Okay, this trick. When you read back 24 hours, you read it out loud and you imagine that a second person is talking to you and they are saying all those words. Let's say I wrote, I am not good looking, I am fat, I don't have enough money, I cannot do this, and I cannot live like this. People hate me. So there are 5 limitations I wrote about myself. When I read back, I will read like a second person, as in, you are not good looking, you are fat, you don't have enough money, you cannot do that. So once you read it in second person, you will find how hateful that sounds and how cruel that sounds. So what you are telling yourself, if somebody else tells you the same things, Selvi, that's my buddy. Thank you. Thank you for joining, sweetheart. Okay. So if somebody else tells you the same things, would you be with them? Or will you tell all these things to someone else you love? Let's say your friend, when you be with them, do you really consider how they look, or how their eyes are, how their nose is, how their lips are, how they move, their hair? Do you notice that, or are you just in love with their presence? Do you just love their company? Do you want to spend time with them? Like all my friends, I want to spend time with them. We have live call and I'm there just to see them because I love them. And I don't care who has how much hair and whose hair is, let's say, curly, whose hair is straight, who looks like that, who is handsome, who is less handsome, who has six packs. I don't care because I love them. I love their personality. So when you are with yourself, do you love your own personality? Do you love to be with you? Or are you constantly throwing these words at yourself like you are not good looking, you are fat, and you are like that? Yes, we love the person inside. So when you are with yourself, the limitations you've written, when you read it out loud as a second person, you will find how hateful it sounds. And that hateful person, you have been with yourself. And that is the harshest crime any human being can commit. That is hurting themselves. Because this is the human body, or the human mind is a supreme architecture. It is designed the best way to perform. It is planned the best way so it can cope up with the reality. If you look back 600 years ago or 6 billion years ago, you will find that human had a different structure. So that nature is evolving your structure. The nature is evolving, has evolved you to perform in the current world. And you are the one who is putting yourself down. And let me tell you, that is the worst crime anyone can commit. And that is the worst crime you have been committing. So let's think about in perspective. Let's think in perspective now. In 5 years, next 5 years, if you dream about having a home in a distant island where you can have time with your family, you can invite your friends, you can bear all their expenses, you can have a grand party every year to celebrate your success. But then you cannot move one step forward because you don't look good or you don't have enough money. What about your family? You cannot spend time with your family, and etc., etc., etc. You can keep on. So if you think in 5 years the world is going to change, there will be a house in a distant island and a helicopter will appear just to take you there, hardly things work like that. Let me tell you, things don't work like that. What happens is you start today, take one step. Tomorrow you take 2 steps. In 5 years, it is possible that you will have a house in a distant island and you will celebrate your success with everyone you love, with your family, your friends, and practically everyone. But if you delay, if you start 5 days later, your 5 years is being postponed a year. If you start, let's say, I will have to check, I still don't know what I want to do. That's okay too. Most of us don't know what is going to happen. But guess what? You have to take chances. And we will slowly move towards that part when you take chances. And how do you take chances? Today is all about limitations. And one day I dedicate to limitations because I know most of us are so much consumed. It is impossible for us to move one step forward. Even if we do, we will go back 3 steps. Because we don't know what's happening next, and we don't know what's going to come up, and we don't know how we are going to cope up with the upcoming challenges. Let me tell you, there is a roadmap for those who have gone through that journey. They know exactly what are the situations that are coming up, and they know exactly how to handle that. And in 50 Shades of Creative, in all my introductions, I tell you one thing, that is, I am here to make things easier for you, simpler for you, and to make sure that you don't make the mistakes I did. And one of the mistakes I did was going online long after when I should have. Why is that? Because I had the world of limitations inside my head. And some of those were real. Like some limitations were very, very real. Selvi, yes, move one step forward. I think someone is joining with us. Whoever, okay, one more shade of creative is joining with us. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me clearly and if you can see me clearly, because I cannot see your name. And thank you for joining us. And don't forget to download the workbook. You can find the workbook in that event discussion or in the page. I posted it 5 minutes earlier. Nimra, it's a superstar. Nimra. And she is motivating Sri Lanka. I'm proud of you, Nim. Thank you for joining. Okay, so the world full of limitation that was living in my head, how did I overcome that? I found people who had the same limitation and who have overcome. And then I started following them step by step. Guess what? They knew exactly what I was going through. And how? Because they have gone through this journey. And now it's my turn to guide you through that journey that is stopping you, through the hurdles that is stopping you here right now, that is stopping you from getting your dream into reality. I have been through. And now it's my time that I hold your hand while you go through this journey. And how do you go through that? Yeah, you have been taking 1,000 courses and they're not working. Let me tell you, courses do not work like that. You have been taking courses on Udemy, or you have been following manifestation courses, you have been following marketing courses, you have been following mindset courses, or you have been following even business courses. But when you start doing something just doesn't click, this is for all those, and right now I am talking to all those who have started but stopped, and who really believe that they cannot do it because when they started, it didn't match exactly the roadmap of that course. Let me tell you, if you buy courses from Udemy, or if you buy ready-made courses from any site, and there are a bunch of videos that you look at, those videos or those courses are a supplement, or they work as a supplement to college education. If your mentor or if whoever you are following just gives you a bunch of lessons and leaves you there to implement, then it is not possible for you to go through that journey alone. So most of the online courses are designed like that I give you a bunch of courses and you just take it and you are on your own. So what kind of mentor changed my life? The ones who had one-to-one mentorship. The courses, the business courses, or the fellows that I have been with, they have one-to-one courses and they answer my questions because they know all the details. Once you start, maybe you don't have enough resource to buy a website or to buy a domain, then the expert, they will know what to do in that case. Maybe you don't have audience. Trust me, when talk about audience, I have spent months just posting content without any audience, just to keep up. And at times, yes, I really doubted that if I can do this or if I can reach people. Guess what? Keeping up pays off. Once you keep up, it pays off. And how does it work? It works like this. You have met a person and you like them. They're very liveful, and it can be a man or it can be a woman, and you approach them because you love them very much, and you ask them that how are you doing and what is it that you do? And they tell you, I am just here to enjoy, like this is the first time I am here in this place and I just love it. And you say, of course, let me show you around, and this place, I am so happy to have you here. So that person, for the first time, that can be your brand. You can be that person. If you are doing personal branding, then you can be that person. Or if you are going through a brand, if you are planning for a brand, then your brand can be that person that people look at for the first time. And they ask, what are you doing? And they find you for the first time. And they love your energy. They love your brand personality, your brand appearance, the service, the content, they love it. So they will be tagged along with you. And they will show you around. They will ask you. And they will give you suggestions so you can move on. And another scenario can be that you meet someone at a cafe or somewhere for the first time. And you ask them, hey, what is it that you do? And they say that, I have been here for a while, but wow, nobody talked to me. I just loved that you talked to me. Thank you for that. I do this, and this. I have been here for a while and I am meeting you for the first time. So you feel important. You feel happy that someone who has that connection with you that you liked has been here for a while, and you want to know them, you want to learn them. And at one point you think, why didn't I meet you earlier? So that person can be you again, or your brand. If you are doing personal branding, or if you are going through a business, a group of people, you are thinking about a brand, it can be the same for your brand as well. Let's say you have been doing, and someone is meeting you for the first time, and they love you so much, they go through your contents, they go through your services, or they go through your products, and they think, wow, how come I have never seen this before? And they are tagged with you. You have to take both the chances. If it doesn't work the first time, it will work later. That can be the 5th time, the 10th time, and that can be any time. All you need to do is to keep up. And here is one more thing. Once people start tagging, you may feel overwhelmed. Like, what do I do next? Because most of our lives, we have been trained that once we finish one grade, we have to go to the next grade. Once we finish second grade, we have to go to the third grade. You cannot get along like, I will be in 1st grade and 2nd grade. Then I will be in 2nd grade and 3rd grade. Or 1, 2, 3, and then 4th grade. This is not how it works. And in profession, we have the same experience. Like I am in this position, and once I am promoted, I have a different set of activities, and I am not looking back at my past. This is not how it works in business. This is not how it works in brand. Your client number one is your highest priority forever. So if you are willing to launch a brand, or if you are looking to move forward, this journey is the journey of togetherness. You cannot do it alone. For those of you whose limitation is I am introvert and people don't like me, guess what? It's the scenario you are building up in your head. It doesn't work like that. Have any of you watched the series The Big Bang Theory? If not, you can, I don't know, some people don't like watching series on Netflix, or some people don't have time. But you can check this out. If you are an introvert, or if this is your limitation, that you think people don't like you, watch this series, and there is a character named Rajesh Kutrapali. He's an astrophysicist, and he's awkward around women. With a lot of time and patience and practice, finally he's able to talk to women. And one time he dates an introvert woman, and she has social anxiety, she is awkward, and Rajesh Kutrapali goes out of his way to make things comfortable for her because he knows how it feels like. And that girl, she is so consumed in her own complex, in her own inferiority complex, she ends up breaking up, of course, and she hurts him bad. And once you see, if you're an introvert and you have social anxiety, once you see that episode, or once I saw that episode, I just had that perception about myself that sometimes being consumed by own complex, how it shuts down opportunities, how it shuts down beautiful people, people who want us to succeed, people who want us to move forward, how we push them away. So you can, again, another TV series that I watched, that is Modern Family. It's an award-winning TV series. If you watch, you will watch, there are two characters, Claire Dunphy and Phil Dunphy's daughters, Haley and Alex. Haley is an extrovert, friendly, lovely person, and Alex is a nerd. She's very smart, very intelligent, but she cannot deal with people because people are dumb. That is another thing. If you have superiority complex, I haven't mentioned this before, you need to write that down. If you think people are dumb, write it down, because that is the limitation you think people have. It is not the case. So Alex, she being so smart, one time they goes to the bowling alley and they are meeting boys and they are having a good time. Alex is correcting them, their every statement, like their grammatical mistake and their like fact mistake, this is not this and that is not that. She's correcting them. And then Haley tells her that everybody knows that you are smart. But if you want to have a boyfriend, if you want to have a relationship, you need to be kind. You need to be nice to people. You need to make them feel comfortable so that they trust you. And when people are comfortable around you, they bring out their best for you. And trust me, these work magic. If you have superiority complex and you think people are dumb, you need to work on being kind maybe. Your smartness has no doubt. We never doubt about your smartness. We never doubt about your intelligence. But what we say is people, everyone you encounter has something to teach you. You always learn something from others. You always have something to learn from others. Even if you don't know yet, you will find. From some people, I learned amazing amount of kindness, amazing amount of generosity that I didn't know that I had. Or sometimes I didn't know that if I could do that much if I were in their position. From some people, I learned that they can be amazingly mean. And then I learned that even if I get angry, even if I hate someone, this is something I should never do because it makes me look crazy. It makes them look crazy. So even if you hate someone, you have to learn something from them. That is another limitation. Now, let's come out of our personality and let's focus on our current situation. If you have a job, what is your limitation? I cannot quit this job right now. I have to keep up. Okay, then how much will it take for you to quit this job? If I have my entire salary every month guaranteed that I can quit this job, let me tell you, even if you have that as an option, for some of you, that will be scary. Because moving forward is scary. A job is a very secured outlet. Like, you don't have to count the budget, you don't have to count the taxes, you don't have to count so many things. You don't have to care about anyone else if you are in a job. And you have a fixed paycheck at the end of the month. And that is a very comfortable situation. Even though you hate your job, even though you hate your colleagues, let me tell you, most people, they hate their job, they hate their boss, but they want to switch their job. Very few people want to quit job and do a business or start a brand, because being in charge, being on top of everything, and being responsible is scary. So if you think being responsible is the thing that is scaring you, write it down as your limitation. Because responsibility, if you know how to take them and if you know how to execute, are not scary at all. In fact, it is addictive. Once you know that you can help others, once you know that through you things are being executed and people are being served, it's addictive and you can never stop. Even if you have a higher paying job, you cannot stop. So it's that kind of addictive. Let me see who's joining. Okay. If anyone is joining, let me know that the sound is okay and you can see me clearly. Give me a thumbs up. And let me check the comment. Okay. Thank you, Neem. Thank you, Selvi. Abby. We have wonderful people around here. Okay. So let's come to the limitation. And one more time, I need to tell you that for those of you, I think most of you couldn't take a printout, because usually we take the printout from printing shops and presses. So if you didn't have that chance, what you do is you write down your answers on a paper with a pen, with your own hand. Just take the question from the workbook and write it down. And again, I'm telling you, once you involve yourself, once you involve all your senses, your brain works 10 times better. Because of course, think in terms of person. If you are doing a project alone, and if you have 5 people with the same perspective, with the same goal working with you on that project, and you distribute, how easier is that? It's the same. So when you write it down and all your senses are involved, your brain makes a much better decision. Do it whenever you have an idea, do it whenever you have a plan. Everything that comes up your mind, write it down. Excuse me. For some of you who know that, who know about gratitude journal, who practice gratitude journal, you will see that once you start writing, your mood changes. You are in your worst mood, maybe. You had the worst possible experience in your life today. But by habit, if you go back to your gratitude journal and write it down, write your gratefulness, write your thankfulness on a paper with a pen, you will start feeling better. Because your brain, when all of your senses are involved in thankfulness, are involved in that goodness of life, or the few good things that you have in life, your brain starts working much better towards that. For those of you who are not at all, nowhere near gratitude, because life is so much hard, life is disgusting and brutal, I wish I weren't born, then start a complaint journal. And let me tell you how it works. It's very much like every limitation you believe you have, it's very much like that. And start writing today. And how do you know it works? It works day 1, I don't look good, and I am fat, and I am short, nobody likes me, I don't have a boyfriend. And day 2, it's still the same, I am ugly, I am fat, nobody likes me. Day 3, there will be a new complaint, that is, a colleague just called me fat, how dare they? How can they call me fat? That is so unkind. And you can keep on and on and on and on and on. And 6 months later, or 3 months later, I don't know, 90 days later, you read back and you will see what you are thinking and how it feels like when someone else tells you the things that you tell yourself. Or maybe there will be some changes in that complaint. Maybe today you are complaining about you having no money, and 3 days later you are complaining about the new pair of shoes, those are tight and you bought it with, so much, you just loved it on store, but now they just don't fit your leg, they just don't fit your feet. And then you will see that once you complained about not having money, and today you are complaining about the new shoes, it means that you had the money, you bought the shoes, and now you are complaining. So then you will have that one track of thankfulness, that one positive thing, that one thing worked out, you had the money. And that way you can shift your perception that no, there are things that work out. And imagine what happens if you focus on that wow, I have this much money, and a year ago I had no idea that I would make it. And trust me, it worked for me. I am telling you with confidence, because every mistake you can possibly make, I have made them all, and I say it with guarantee. For 12 years, and not exactly 12 years, because for 1 year I have my mentor and my life changed, so I will say 10, 11 years, yeah. And how did things change? Number one, I had one-to-one mentor who have been teaching me, who have been guiding me personally, and my mentors who I ask questions and they answer. And whenever I have self-doubt, they're there to clarify. And the second thing is I started counting the blessings. In 2018, I was in a job where I just thought that I didn't have any other option, because let's face it, I am from a third world country, and who will ever trust a girl from a third world country? And then I don't make enough money. So how am I going to buy all the equipments necessary for my business? Oh, and for those of you who don't know yet, I started my business twice and failed miserably. And yeah, so that trauma, if you have that trauma, that certificate that yes, I started and I failed, write it down, and possibly write it down in bold and mark it. Let me tell you something, failure is the biggest achievement you can have. All my strength and all my confidence comes from my failure. And now today I am here talking to you, and you are there listening to what I say, and you can sense that confidence because I have been a failure. I have been down and I have been crushed, and now I know how to handle all that. And for me, failure is now like, oh, that's one more, that happened. Or if I fail at something new, I know that I'm going to make it. Because things that counted as failures 7 years ago are now in my fingertips. Like I can do it like magic. But when I was failing, it was a failure. And I have always blamed myself for that. So let me ask you something. Things that you have tried and failed, how many times did you try? Did you try once? Like, did you once try talking to a woman and she just shut it down, and you just take it as a, gospel truth that no woman would ever like me? That is on you. And let me guess, if you are a woman and you have similar experience, like I liked a boy very much and he didn't like me back, so yeah, there must be something wrong with me and I am unlovable. Write it down. And let me just tell me that how many times, not with the same person. Like if you nag someone over and over again, they are bound to shut you down. But did you try building a relationship with more than one person? And did it always fail for the same reason? There, that is your hint. How to change and what changes to make. And that will be scary. I am here for you. I know what exact details do you need, because I have been through all the failures you can think of. And I know exactly what are the red flags, and I know how exactly things are going to go wrong. For those of you, many of you may challenge me, like, this is not how it works. It's easy for you to say. Guess what? You think I don't have limitations? You think before coming to this life, I wasn't worried? Everyone has their limitations, and everyone has their limitations inside their skull. And there's a quote that I don't remember the title of the book. The book was released in December 2019. It was an autobiography. Okay, just if you are watching, remind me. There was a line in that book that said, everything that happened to you so far has happened inside your head. So life is a perception. There is nothing absolute about life. What you think is white, someone else might find gray, or someone else might find black. Whatever shade you love the best, someone will hate that shade. Whatever you think is black, someone will find golden. So life is a perception. If you are a creative professional, you should know more than anyone else that it's all about perception. It's all about the right angle, and even if you are making it, you cannot be sure that the audience or the viewer will watch it from that exact angle. So you can never be sure that it will be the exact result for everyone else if you are a creative professional, that I'm saying. If not, if you are anything else, if you are a health coach, if you are a yoga trainer, if you are a relationship coach, if you are a writer, if you are a banker, if you're an accountant, if you are a marketing professional, if you are a man, if you are a woman, let me tell you, whatever you believe for as an absolute is never an absolute. Whatever didn't work for me worked magic for someone else, because there are details involved. When I worked, I had a set of ethics, I had a set of morality. Some people let go of morality, of that set of morality. I'm not saying that they didn't have any. They just let go of that certain set of morality, that certain set of ethics, and they did well. And let me guess, when they did well, I was devastated that I couldn't do that. But now when I see they are in that position happily and I am in my position happily, so that was never my journey. And this journey was never theirs. So when you are writing down your limitation, the last thing, is it your own perception, or have you heard it from someone else? Have you learned it from someone else? And there, your task ends there. How many limitations did you point down so far? I think someone else is joining us. Okay, I cannot see your name, but if you can hear me clearly, if you can see me clearly, please give me a thumbs up. So far, okay. Abby is here, Selby is here. Thank you, I love you all. Okay, let us begin. Once you have written down all your limitations, the last thing you need to know, these limitations, excuse me, are those yours? Did you learn that by yourself, like all alone, you just figured it out, or your limitations is stopping you, or did you learn it from someone else? Did someone else tell you? Or did some event go wrong and you just concluded it must be your fault? Let's say if you are trying to be a chef, I tried, by the way, and I'm telling you this in a secret, that I tried learning cooking, and yeah, my father was a big fan of my cooking, but when I tried it, 5 years later, I was devastated. So sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't go well, and I still dream that in 5 years, I'm going to take a full MasterChef course. That is my dream. I'm going to have it. So that is my hobby. That is another passion that I want to fulfill. And I know in 5 years, I will make it. Because I know there is no limitation, absolutely. Whatever I think is the limitation, that they are inside my head and I can just rip it off like that. For me, it took years to practice. For you, if you start now, in 6 months, you will be a different person and you won't believe that there was a time that you thought like that. For some, it may take 3 days. If you have that clarity, if you have that crystal clear mindset, it can happen in 3 days. For some, it can happen in 3 weeks or 6 months. But let me tell you, I will be there with you to get you through all that. The last thing, again, let me do a recap from day one. Once you have learned, day one was about finding you. The number one was, what is your current situation? Number two, why is this your current situation? Number three, how did you get here? Number four, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And most of the people will tell, yeah, I want this, but that's not going to happen. I mean, someone like me can never make it. Of course, that brings us to day two. what has been stopping you, and write down every limitation you believe you have. And then you write down every limitation about your appearance, about your personality, about your surroundings, about your profession, your family. This didn't go well, your friends are not supporting, absolutely everything. But at the end, at the very end, I gave you an entire page. If possible, you can finish a notebook writing about your limitations only. Limitations only. The last page is for where did these limitations come from that you believe you have. Did you know it for yourself, or did you learn it from somewhere else? Did you ever communicate with a child? Do you think any child, absolutely, they know of limitations? Children don't know of limitations. Because if you look at children's hospital and adults hospital, when an adult human being is sick or having a bad time, you will see that they are, of course, weak, and they take a certain amount of time to heal. If you look at children's hospital, and I am not talking about the severe units, but when a child is sick, hardly they notice about themselves. Parents are the ones who notice about their sickness. Children hardly notice because they are always in good mood. Children are always positive. Children are always cheerful. They are always friendly. And I remember a story, I heard it, I guess, from a relative, that he went to a different town for a job, and then his wife called at 1 in the morning and said their son is sick, and he was 3-year-old. And he was devastated because that was, I guess, 30 years ago. And then while coming back, he left his job there. He just said, I cannot make it. And then he came home. While coming home, he bought a toy train just to cheer his son up. And he came home, and his son, who had the 3-year-old, he had 103 degrees fever, I guess. And when he gave him the train toy, he started playing, and in 30 minutes, the fever was gone. So that worked like magic. Children, every time, children are cheerful. So if you were in the child phase, like no one, you don't care about anyone, you were in that phase, trust me, you wouldn't have any limitation. Children heal the fastest because their mind is the freshest. They are always positive, they are always playful. They hardly notice that there's something wrong with their body. Or even if they're hurt, they will just and start playing because they are so focused on that playing. You hardly can keep them in place. They're so lifeful. So if you put yourself in that phase, in that situation, you will see there is absolutely no limitation at all. Now there's one thing left. For some of us, there may be physical limitations. Let me tell you, you can overcome that. Absolutely any. Now I'm not a health coach. So if I tell you and you question who are you to tell me you are not a health coach, that will be true. But let me tell you something, that I overcome physical disabilities too, and physical limitations too. And for some of you, won't even notice that I have something wrong. But there are. You don't notice because I don't notice. And this is how the world works. Whatever you notice, the world notices with you. Whatever you ignore, the world ignores with you. And when you smile, the world smiles with you. Because whatever you present, the world sees. What you don't present remains a secret. So for all of you who think that these are your limitations, just go through one question. How did you learn about these limitations? Did somebody tell you after that event? Or maybe it didn't even happen to you. You saw it with someone else and you were so traumatized. You just don't dare to try it for yourself, because if this happened to them, I don't think I can go through that. Let me tell you something. Things aren't the same for everyone. And if you are scared by someone else's experience, then it's pathetic. You should be at that phase where you can help others going through some trouble. if you are scared and if you remain in your own shell, like I don't want to hear, I don't want to see, I don't want to speak, then you know the sarcastic, you know the satire, right? This is how things will go. Or you can reach that phase that those who are in trouble, you can help them get through their journey. What I am doing to you now. And in these 5 days, I will be holding your hand. I will be guiding you through your journey, whereas you are in this scare mode, limitation mode, and like, yeah, people, this society, I can never do this, I can never do this. Let me tell you, I am here to guide you through that. So I think I will check some comments now. Yeah. Count your blessings and then complain your problems. Of course, but it's not for the same person. I said for some, those of you who are nowhere near gratitude and those who think life is brutal and it was injustice, it was not fair to give you this life, you should start a complaint journal. And after 90 days, you will see how your complaints change. It means you are never static. So you will find something to be thankful of and you can move on with that. Yes. Thank you, Nim, for watching. Thank you, Karma. Thank you, Abby. That is my buddy. She's the best buddy ever. I love you, Abby, for being here with me today. So that's our day 2. For those of you who are watching the replay, what I want you to do is download the workbook, and if you have missed day 1, go through day 1, and it is very important that you answer all these questions about yourself. That is number 1, what is your current situation? And I don't mean your name, what is your name, or what do you look like, what is your current situation? That regards your relationship, your profession, your financial issue, your surroundings, all this. And then you need to answer, why is this your current situation? And for some, it can be a happy situation. For some, it can be a sad situation. You need to come out honest on this workbook. I'm not telling you to share any of these. You will see in the workbook, it starts from day 3. So these are all secret. You need to know just for yourself. And then you need to learn, how did you get here? And that is the third question you need to answer. And then, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And that, based on your current situation, where do you want to be in 5 years? After that, we are here on day 2. What has been stopping you from reaching your dream? And I am not talking about goal. Everyone has a different goal. For some, having the next promotion is a goal. For some, I don't know, just meeting their parents after the lockdown is lifted may be a goal. So goals vary. I'm not talking about goal. But that dream, that desire that you think, I wish it ever came true in my lifetime, that dream, what has been stopping you from reaching that dream? And today's workbook, I want you to write down every limitation you believe you have. And then I didn't include this question in the workbook, but I wanted to write it down and I wanted to answer the question that where did these limitations come from? Because let me tell you, it is always a source from the outside. You didn't know about these limitations. No human being is born with limitations. Limitations we believe we have. There is no limitation at all. It's an illusion, a make-up idea. To convince yourself that this is the best you can do. To be comfortable in that situation, it's just an excuse, another term for an excuse that this is what is keeping me. And if it is from an outer source, then you are living the life from someone else. And you are convincing yourself with someone else's idea. You are comfortable with someone else's definition. Let me tell you, I am here to take off this limitation, this illusion of your eyes, and these limitation goggles that you have been putting on your eyes all your life. I am here to take all this off. So that's our day 2. Do your homework. Be 2000% honest. Then just answer. And I am coming back to you tomorrow, and I want your homework with you. And tomorrow we are starting our journey with a new perspective that is yours, not from the outsiders. and I will be guiding you, holding your hand. That's a promise. I will make things easier for you, simpler for you, and I will make sure that you don't make the mistakes I did. I hope you had a good day. Bye.